Amis, c'est l'heure de la jeunesse. Suivons la voie de la sagesse qui nous appelle, qui nous invite à l'union. C'est la voie de la nation.
Fellow Cameroonians, I'm Jacques Bouhga Hagbe, a Cameroonian economist who worked for over 22 years at the International Monetary Fund in Washington, D.C. in the United States. I'm before you today because I believe in the immense and untapped potential of our country, Cameroon. We have been held back for 65 years, but we can quickly close this gap and develop our country. I understand the weariness many of you feel. Have lived it. I was born in city-sick Douala, Cameroon, and I grew up there, witnessing the chaos of the 1990s, ghost towns, police brutality, and economic collapse. I saw businesses close, staff cuts, and hope dwindle. In 1993, I was lucky enough to leave, but I never forgot the hardships I had left behind. Years later, after studying engineering and economics, I fully reconnected with our country. In 2014, I started a small agricultural business with a few employees, and the reality of our country's problems hit me hard once again. Infrastructure was deteriorating, roads were impassable, and even university graduates were forced to drive motorcycle taxis. Power outages were constant. Water quality was appalling, and prices were skyrocketing. Unfortunately, these problems persist to this day. I have looked at our political landscape, and I see a void. Let's be clear, the Biya regime has failed, but where are the concrete and credible alternatives? I understand your discouragement, but I also know that these problems have solutions. Our country, thanks to its strategic geographical position and abundant resources, can experience rapid development. However, achieving this will require fundamental changes and a radical transformation of our economy. The state must move from being an obstacle to private sector growth to a facilitator. We must modernize our public sector by fully digitizing it and simplify procedures to reduce costs. We need innovative financing models based on popular shareholding to accelerate the construction of our infrastructure and promote rapid and inclusive economic growth. Take the electricity sector, for example. Only 25% of the population has access to it, and even then, it remains precarious. To achieve the standard of 1 kilowatt per capita, in line with that of developed countries, we must multiply our electricity capacity by at least 20, which requires an investment of at least 57 billion euros, or nearly 37 trillion CFA francs. This represents 5 times the state budget for 2025 and 300 times NAO's capital. How do we find this money? We must therefore innovate beyond our current financing models. We also need a monetary policy that supports the private sector with a national currency and controlled private currencies, promoting credit expansion and job creation while controlling inflation. We need institutions that hold leaders accountable. At all levels, leaders must be accountable to their constituents, whether at the national or local level. Unfortunately, this is not what we see in our country, and the people are suffering greatly as a result, especially the Cameroonian youth, from whom the country's leaders want to take away all hope. Advantageous geographical position makes free trade a powerful engine for job creation for young people in Cameroon. We must therefore work towards the rapid implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the AFCFTA. We must also improve our education, research, and health systems, fully exploiting the potential of new technologies. This is not a dream. We can develop our country very quickly. One person alone cannot bring our country out of this current predicament. It must be a collective effort. I had the opportunity to travel around the world, and particularly in Africa, as part of my former role at the IMF. I have learned from every country I have visited. I'm absolutely convinced that we can do better to improve the lot of our country so that our citizens, in particular the youth, can have jobs with decent incomes, live with dignity on our land, and make a valuable contribution to our country. I urge you not to be discouraged. Register en masse to vote and do everything you can to vote in October. The liberation of Cameroon will be a collective effort. Do not be afraid. Our only real political party is Cameroon. Do not be afraid. Long live free Cameroon. Long live free Africa. Thank you for your kind attention.
C'est la voix de la nation.